So welcome you all to to another session of advanced surveying, wherein we are dealing with curves, right? Curves topic, curve model we are dealing, and here today we will study regarding vertical curves. Okay, we are studying today regarding vertical curves. So all the curves that we have learned until now, right? The simple curves, compound curves, and reverse curve, also the transition curve. They are usually in the horizontal plane. Sorry, they are in the horizontal plane. Now we are dealing with curves which are in the vertical plane, right? We are the curves which take you up and down in elevation. Okay, up and down in elevation, and these horizontal curves which we have learned previously will take you either left or either they will take you right. Okay, so they horizontal curves take you to change your direction, right, left to right or by some angle, and these vertical curves change your elevation. They take you up or they take you down, right? Like this, they take you upwards or they might take you downwards. And so they are in the vertical plane. Okay, and these previous ones which we learn are on in the horizontal plane, or they are on the ground, right? These curves, horizontal curves, are placed on the ground, but these vertical curves either go upwards or downwards, right? So you can see the difference over here. This the bottom diagram or the bottom figure which you see here is a representation of a horizontal curve, right? See, they are taking you either in the right direction or the left direction. That help you change your direction, right? They are placed on the ground. They are in the horizontal plane. This is your horizontal plane, right? Your earth or your ground, and on that plane your curves are placed. So these are horizontal curves, but this is your vertical curve, wherein you can see it will help you go upwards, up the hill, or it will allow you to come down the hill, right? It changes your elevation, right? It is in the vertical plane. It helps you change in the vertical direction, right? In the vertical plane, it will be placed. Right? So this is the difference between vertical curve and a horizontal curve. I hope you have understood. So both these planes are perpendicular to each other. Right? Vertical plane and horizontal plane are perpendicular to each other, and hence these two curves are also almost perpendicular to each other. They might vary, but usually they are perpendicular to each other. Okay, so I hope you have understood the meaning of vertical curve and what we mean by horizontal curve, based on their planes. At vertical plane, and this is in horizontal plane or on the ground. Okay, then coming to the next thing. What do you mean by vertical curves? The definition of vertical curves. When two different or contrary gradients meet, they are connected by a curve in vertical plane is called as vertical curve. Okay, what do you mean by this? Two different contrary gradients. Right? Gradient is nothing but the word that we use for slope, right? Slope of a road, whether it is going uphill, right, or whether it is going downhill, right? So we represent the slope of this as gradients. Okay, upward gradient or downward gradient. Okay, so when the two different gradients meet, like in this particular example which I've drawn on your screen here, this is upward gradient which we write it as positive, and this is a slope coming downwards, so it is negative. So when you want to join these two, want to join these two, you cannot give a road like this, right? You cannot lay a road. You have to join these two by using a simple smooth curve, right? Like this, a curve you have to place. You have to cut this part, right? Cutting you have to do of this hill, and you have to make a small smooth curve so that these two straights can be joined. These two different gradients can be joined together. Right? So this is just an example of what the vertical curve is supposed to do. So it joins two contrary gradients, and that particular connection is done by in the vertical plane. Okay, it is done in the vertical plane, called as a vertical curve. Okay, so the definition, I hope it is clear of what we mean by a vertical curve. Now, the second thing, it is advisable to introduce a vertical curve in a road and in a railway work in order to round off the angle. Right here, if I draw a slope, right, if it is a sloping road, and then you have a uphill road in this particular format. Here you can see we have a edge, right? We have a sharp edge which is forming. Or suppose if you have in this particular way, if you have a road, uphill road and then a downhill road, you have a sharp angle over here. Now to round off this particular sharp angle, what we do, we obtain a gradual change in grade. so that abrupt change in grade is avoided at the apex. This is called your apex. This abrupt change which will occur at this apex has to be avoided by providing a gradual change in gradient like this. A gradual change in gradient may be provided which is in the vertical plane, at a vertical plane called as a vertical curve. Okay, so this is a general idea of the vertical curve. Now let us understand vertical curve by some images. So you can see when there is no vertical curve which is provided over here, you can see it is a sharp downward gradient and then a level road. You can see it is a level road which is joining to a downward gradient, right? You can see over here. And there is no vertical curve provided in the first case, no vertical curve. And you can see here that there is impact of your vehicle or a train which is moving downwards. In this particular track, you can see there is impact of the nose to the ground, right? Because of the sharp angle over here. So to avoid that, what we do, we provide a vertical curve in this particular fashion. You can see a vertical curve is provided in the railway track so that your train can easily change between the level road and the falling gradient. And between these two, we provide a vertical curve so that you can transition smooth from a downward gradient to a level road or whatever the case may be. Okay. Similarly, you can see here in the third case, you have no vertical curve and upward gradient is meeting a downward gradient. Upward gradient here is meeting a downward gradient and there is no vertical curve. You can see this is the apex, that apex, and there is sharp abrupt change of your gradient over here. So you can see this is very dangerous. Your railway will face very much problem. This is has to be avoided at any cost. So you can see we cut that particular apex and we provide a vertical curve in this particular fashion, a gradual change in direction, gradual change from this particular gradient, rising gradient to a falling gradient. We provide a smooth vertical curve. So I hope you have got the idea of what is a vertical curve and where we exactly need to provide it.
Yes.
So further, you can see in this image, we have a vertical curve where you can see a vertical curve is provided over here. This part is a vertical curve wherein you can see this is a downward gradient and this is a upward gradient, right? Upward gradient and a downward gradient. You cannot have a straight line meeting each other. So what we do, we smooth these two out with a smooth curve or a vertical curve. Right. Similarly, it can be provided at other places where you have upward gradient meeting a downward gradient like this. This is also a vertical curve which is provided over here. Vertical curve. Right. So in this particular example, in this image, you can see clearly, very nicely, we have explained your gradients. So you can see this is gradient number 1, which gradient we represent as G, the gradient number 1. So this is downward gradient. You can see it is going downward. This blue color line, you can see from here up to this change point, right? Point of vertical intersection, PVI, point of vertical intersection. You can see this is the first one. And at this point, the gradient has changed to upward rising gradient of G2. Right? First one was falling gradient. The second one is the rising gradient, and these two are meeting at the first point PVI. Okay, so here you can see what we do, we provide a vertical curve starting from here. You can see it up to here. So this is a vertical curve which is provided. You can see in the red color. This is the vertical curve of length L1. Of length L1. Okay. Then this blue color line, the rising gradient, you can see G2 is meeting a downward gradient of G3. Right. So here also we have a change point over here to avoid this apex, right? Sharp abrupt change. What we do, we provide a vertical curve in this particular fashion. Right. So it is from this point to this point. So it is having a length L2. So this is a very good example of where you need to provide a vertical curve and how it has to be provided. Now, moving on to one more topic, that is necessity of a vertical curve. So I've explained to you the necessity of this vertical curve. One more important necessity is that to provide adequate visibility and safety to the traffic. This is very important, and this I have explained to you. Gradual change in grade or slope is required, so that to achieve this, we provide a vertical curve. Also to avoid this discomfort to passengers, right? When you are changing from one grade to another, there is a sudden jerk which you will which you will feel if there is no proper curve provided. To avoid that sudden change in to avoid the sudden change in grade and to avoid the discomfort to the passengers, we provide a vertical curve. Okay, so what do you mean by this? Adequate visibility to and safety to traffic. Here in this example, here you can see, here in this example, let me draw. So you have a like this, you have a road rising gradient, and then suddenly if you have a downward gradient, right, and this is your vehicle number one which is coming upwards, then he cannot see the vehicles which are coming in this direction, right? It is not visible to him, right? This, if this is the eye level, right, it is not visible to him until they reach the top, right? Until they reach the top, it is not, they are not visible to each other, and it will cause accident between them. So what we can do to avoid this here is, what we can do, we can provide a vertical curve, we can cut the hill, the apex we can cut, can see we can cut over here, and we can provide a smooth curve, that we can provide a smooth curve, so that once you reach over here, you can easily watch the other vehicle which is approaching towards you, right? So it is clearly visible, and hence it is safe for the traffic, right? To provide adequate visibility and safety for the traffic, hence these vertical curves also are necessary for this condition. Okay, so I hope you have understood the necessity of a vertical curve, why we need to provide a vertical curve. Now, what we mean by this grade, right? Grade is nothing but the gradient which I have explained to you, right? Which we represent as small g. Grade or the gradient or the slope of the road, right? Longitudinal slope, what we mean is the grade, right? It is a rising road, or it is a falling gradient, or a falling grade. Right? Grade or gradient is a representation of the slope of the road, okay? Longitudinal slope of the road. So it is, it may be a rail road or it may be a highway, okay? And this grade g can be expressed in two ways. It can be expressed in terms of percentage, right? It can be either expressed in terms of percentage or in terms of 1 in n, okay? 1 in n. So I hope you are familiar with this 1 in n representation of a slope, 1 in n, okay? So example of 1 in 100. So let me explain this 1 in 100. So what is 1? 1 is vertical and n is horizontal. 1 is vertical, n is horizontal. So this is v is 1 and h is 100. So what is v? Vertical distance, and h is horizontal distance. So for every 100-meter horizontal distance, for every 100 meters of horizontal distance, suppose this is 100 meters, there is 1 meter increase in elevation. There is 1 meter increase for every travel of 100 meters. So suppose if it is 0 over here, at this point A, the vertical elevation is 0. And once you travel 100 meters, right, we have travel 100 meters, what the condition says, you have to go up by 1 meter. So at this particular point, after you travel 100 meters, the vertical distance is how much? It is 1 meter. Okay, so for every 100 meters, you travel a distance of 1 meter. So this is the slope which is achieved by this 1 in n. So 1 in 100 is this particular slope or the diagram which I have drawn over here, right? So for every 100 meters travel, you will increase your elevation by 1 meter, right? For every 100 meters you travel on this road, the elevation will increase by 1 meter. Okay, or suppose if this is already 100-meter elevation, here once you travel 100 meters, your elevation will be 101, right? If the elevation at A is 100, elevation at point B will be 101. If you are going a gradient on a gradient of 1 in 100, okay, rising gradient, I'm talking about a rising gradient of 1 in 100. Similarly, it will be the same for a falling gradient of 1 in 100. Falling gradient, you will go down by the same, right? You will go down by 1 meter for every 100-meter travel. For every 100-meter travel, right? If suppose this is your elevation 100 at point A, 100 at point A, for every 100-meter travel, you will go down by 1 meter, right? For every 100-meter travel, you will go down by 1 meter. So 1 in 100, you have to represent it in 1 in 100, okay, or 1 in n, 1 in n, and you have to mention whether it is a rising gradient or whether it is a falling gradient. You have to mention whether it is a rising or falling, because it is not clear from this. It can be either rising or falling. You have to mention whether it is upward gradient or downward gradient, whether it is a plus, which is upward gradient, or whether it is a minus, representing a falling gradient. Okay, so this is for representation of 1 in n. Similarly, there is representation in percentage, right? How can you represent in percentage? What is 2%? It is nothing but 2 by 100, right? It is 2 by 100, or it can be like any other number which gives you 2%, which gives you 2%, right? So any other number, can you give me an example wherein after multiplying it by 100, you will get in percentage 2%, right? So this is 2%, correct? So this is a representation of 2%, meaning for every 100 meters that you travel, you will go up by 2 meters. This is vertical, this is horizontal, right? Representation in percentage. So similarly, you can have an example of 4 by how much? 4 by 200. 4 by 200, correct? Into 100. Is it correct what I'm writing? Will it give me 2%? Will this value give me 2%? Please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so this is how you can represent in percentage, okay, in percentage. Okay, so I hope you have understood what is meant by a grade, and plus is used for upward gradient. I've told you, if it is upgrade or if it is upward gradient, we use plus sign, and if it is a downgrade or downward gradient, we use the negative sign. Okay, depending upon whether you are going upward or downward, the direction, the plus or minus sign have to be used. Okay, so this is regarding gradient of a vertical curve. Gradient is used only in a vertical curve, right? Not in horizontal curves. Only vertical curves will move in upward and downward direction in the vertical plane, and horizontal plane are only level, right? They are always level. So this gradient is only coming in picture when you are dealing with vertical curves. Okay, so moving to next thing, that is type of vertical curves. Various types of vertical curves are there. Okay, so mainly they can be categorized as valley curves and summit curves. Valley curves and summit curves. So what is valley? Valley is like this, right? Valley is this, wherein two mountains are meeting at a bottom part, right? So this is when you provide a curve over here. So this is a valley curve wherein it is joining these two valleys at valley curve. You can see this is valley curve, and whenever you provide a curve at this particular point at a hill, at the apex of a hill, so this is a summit of the curve, summit of the hill, what we call, right? Apex or summit of a hill. And if you provide a curve over here, if you cut this part of the mountain and you provide a curve over here, this is a summit curve, and this is a valley curve. So this is a broad classification of vertical curves, very broad classification, valley and summit curves. So we have many types under these. We have many types. You have 6 types to be exact. You have 6 type of vertical curves. Okay, not these. You have 6 type of vertical curves, which I have drawn over here. You can see 6 type of diagrams you are seeing on your screen. 6, right? So let me explain each of these diagrams one by one. So before we move on to types of vertical curves, let me just check whether you have understood up till now whatever I've explained. Please confirm whether you have explained, you have understood whatever I've explained till now by raising your hand. Please raise your hand and let me know whether you have understood until now what you mean by vertical curves, what is gradient, and all these things, whatever I have explained up till now, and what is the necessity of vertical curves. I hope you have understood. Okay, so this particular chapter, vertical curves, has only theory part. No numericals will be asked in your on your vertical curves. Okay, so I hope this part is clear. Okay, so you can lower your hand now. Thank you for that. Okay, so moving on to types of vertical curves. Types of vertical curves. So I've told you we have 6 types. So the first type of vertical curve. So it is a positive gradient, right? A positive gradient plus gradient meeting a downward gradient or a minus gradient, right? A plus gradient meeting a downward gradient minus. Right? You can see this is a positive gradient plus, meaning positive gradient is G1. I will write it as G1 plus positive, hence it is plus G1. Next, it is meeting a downward gradient. A positive gradient is meeting a downward gradient. You can see this is what is the downward gradient. You can see on your screen. This is downward, hence it is minus and it is represented as G2 plus G1 minus G2 plus gradient meeting a minus gradient. Where it is meeting at a point A, right? It is meeting at a point A. So what we can do, to avoid this particular apex, what we do, we provide a curve. You can see a curve is provided in this particular fashion. So this is a vertical curve which is provided from point O to point B. Okay, to avoid this particular A, to avoid this apex, when upward gradient meets a downward gradient, this is the first part, first type of a vertical curve wherein a plus gradient is meeting a minus gradient. Okay, so this is the first type. Now similarly, we have a second type of a vertical curve where a minus gradient, right? The opposite of the one which we have learned now, the opposite, that is a minus gradient meeting a positive gradient, right? A minus G1 meeting a plus G2, minus gradient meeting a plus gradient. You have a downward gradient meeting a upward gradient. So to avoid this particular condition, what we do, we provide a smooth vertical curve. You can see this is the vertical curve which we can provide from O to B. Okay. So this is also called as a sag curve, okay, sag or concave curve. And the previous one which was here, it is a summit curve, right? Summit curve, or called as a convex curve. Convex curve. You can see it is convex towards the summit. It is convex. It is in the form of a convex curve towards the summit. Here you can see it is convex towards the concave towards the summit. You can see if this is the upward type, you can see it is concave towards this. Okay. So we have learnt two types. Now we have many other types, right? We have learnt plus meeting minus, and we have seen minus meeting plus. Now we can have various other combinations, right? We can have plus meeting plus, and we can have minus meeting minus. So wherein, let us check over here, we have a plus gradient meeting a plus gradient. So what is the change here is this G1, G2 is greater than G1, meaning the gradient, second gradient is higher or it is steeper compared to the first gradient. You can see here the gradient number 1 or G1 gradient is positive. It is a upward gradient, but it is not having much slope. And the second gradient is also upward, but it is a steep slope. Okay, so this is also positive, and the second grade is also positive. So G2, but here the condition is G2 is greater than G1. The first gradient is upward gradient, but it is not having much slope. The second gradient is having a high slope or higher gradient. It is a steep one. So to join these two kind of to join these two kind of grades, we have a vertical curve, right? O1, F, B. So this is the curve which is joining these two gradients. Okay, so this is the third case. An upward gradient meeting another upward gradient, but here the condition is G2 is greater than G1. Okay. Now the fourth one. So we have studied G2 is greater than G1. Now the second one will be what? G1 is greater than G2. Meaning a steep gradient. You can see this is very steep. This road, this gradient is very steep, G1. And the second gradient is also upward gradient, but it is not very steep. It is less compared to the first grade. So to join these two roads or to join these two gradients, we use a vertical curve. Okay, so this is the fourth example, fourth type of a vertical curve, and this is the second condition. Now this is the first condition, G2 greater than G1, and the second condition is G1 greater than G2. Okay, now coming to the fifth type of a vertical curve. Now once you are done with plus plus, next what is minus minus, and we have similarly two conditions. First condition is G2 greater than G1, meaning or G1 or the first gradient is also a downward gradient, but the second gradient you can see it is very steep compared to the first, or it is greater compared to the first gradient. So it is minus G1 and minus G2, but G2 is greater than G1. Okay, so to join these two gradients, we are using a vertical curve. You can see a dark line starting from O going up to B. So it is the vertical curve, or also known as summit curve. Okay. So this is the fifth one, and coming to the last one. What is the last one? The same thing, minus, meeting a minus curve, but it is G1, it is greater than G2, right? So this is a very steep gradient, okay, downward gradient, which is meeting another downward gradient which is not very steep, or which is having a gradient lesser than the first gradient. So here the condition is G1 is greater than G2. Okay, so to join these two grades, what we do, we provide a vertical curve starting from O, passing through F, and ending at point B. Okay, so these are the 6 type of curves, vertical curves, which you have to remember. Okay, 6 type. So how can you remember this? So first curve is what? Positive meeting negative. Then the next one is negative meeting positive. Then what we have? Then we have a smaller positive meeting a greater positive. Okay, see, I have drawn a small plus, then a larger plus value. Then the fourth case is what? A larger positive value, positive grade meeting a smaller positive grade. Then can you tell me the remaining two? Remaining two, can you tell me the remaining two? We are done with 4. There is still 2 are remaining. Try to answer what are the remaining two types.
Smaller gradient meeting the minus larger gradient.
Okay, so we have a small negative gradient meeting a larger negative gradient. Okay, one more. Reverse of this case you are telling. Okay, so larger negative value meeting a smaller negative gradient. Okay, so these are the 6 type of vertical curves which you have to remember. Usually this is the question that will be asked in our exam. Define a vertical curves and explain the types of vertical curves with figures. So you have to draw all these figures for 6 curves and you have to explain. Okay, so this is a summary of what are the type of 6 curves that you have to draw and you have to name. Okay, so this is regarding vertical curves. The necessity might be asked to you, necessity of a vertical curve, why they are required, and that you have to explain, okay, why these vertical curves are required. And then I've told you the definition also of the vertical curve. You have to write the vertical curve. You have to write the necessity if you are asked necessity of vertical curves, and explain the types of gradient types of vertical curves. Okay, we have 6 type of vertical curves which I have explained to you. Okay, so this is all the thing regarding vertical curves. So we are done with vertical curves. So with this, we are finished with the your third module, that is dealing with curves. Okay, so what we will do is we will just summarize what all we have learned in curves chapter, in curves module. Okay, whatever we have learned. So starting from simple curves, we have learned. Starting what we have learned simple curves. Okay, so here you can see we have learned first what simple curves, then we have moved on to compound curves. So let me just summarize. The first thing that we learned in simple curves was what? Can you read on the screen? What was the first thing that we learned? The first thing in a simple curve, first thing that we learned were simple curves, right? If you remember, first thing that we learned was regarding simple curves. So first thing that we learned under simple curves was, first thing that we learned was designation of a curve. How do you name the particular simple curve, right? This was the first thing that we learned. What is the nomenclature of a simple curve, right? So we have learned that we have 2 types of designation. We have the arc definition, right? We have the arc definition, and then we have the chord definition. If you recall, we have arc definition and we have chord definition. Okay, so in the arc, you can use this particular formula, right? You can see I have drawn an arc from P to Q. I have drawn an arc from P to Q, and it is having an angle, central angle of D, central angle D, and the radius R. Okay, so it is an arc which is of 100 feet. Okay, it is of 100 feet. So 100 is to 2 pi r. 100 is to 2 pi r is what? 100 is the length of this arc, and the length of the entire circle is what? Entire circle of this is 2 pi r. right? Entire circle length or the perimeter is 2 pi r. Okay, and then similarly what you have to do, we have to equate it to this d, which is the central angle of this arc, to the entire angle, that is 360 degrees. 360 degrees is the angle of a circle, right? Entire central angle of a circle. So this particular thing, if you remember, you can easily write down the arc definition. Okay, so if it is 100 over here, if it is 100, you have to substitute 100. You can see I've substituted 100 over here. All these remaining three things will be same. Okay, they will not change. So instead of 100, if they give you a 30-meter arc, if they give you an arc of 30 meters, you have to substitute 30 instead of 100. And if these three things remain the same. Okay, so if you remember this particular thing, you can easily write down for any length of a curve, any length of the curve. If they give you 20-meter curve, they give you 30-meter curve, or they tell you 10-meter curve, you can just substitute over
ಕ್ಲಾಸ್
here.
ಐತಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ತಗೋದೇನೆ
ಏನಾಯ್ತ್ರಿ? Okay, so it is what I've told you. If you remember one equation, if you remember this thing, you can substitute over here. Instead of 100, whatever they give you, 10, 20, 30, whatever they give you, you can substitute, and you can calculate the designation or the radius of the curve. Usually they give you degree, they tell you to calculate radius. Okay, so depending upon what they give you, if they give you r and they tell you to calculate d, you can do that from this particular definition, arc definition. Now, instead of giving the arc length, instead of giving you the arc length here, instead of giving you 10, instead of that, if they give you the chord length, which I've drawn over here, you can see the straight line between P and Q. If they give you this thing, what you have to do, you have to use this particular formula. We have two formulas with us, one exact formula and one approximate formula. You have to remember these two. If they give you these chord length, if they give you the chord length. Okay, so the chord length, remember, it is 100 feet. Okay, so that is a standard thing which we use, and usually this will not be asked. Usually they will ask you regarding the arc definition. Okay, so this is the first thing that we learned under simple curve. Then we learned various elements of a simple curve. If you recall, we learned various elements of a simple curve. The length of a simple curve is what? L into delta, R into delta, right? R into delta is the length of a curve, and multiply it by pi by 180, pi into 180. So using this particular thing, using the arc definition, we have derived this particular formula, right? We have derived this particular formula. 100 feet length of the arc, 100 feet is the length of the arc. You can see it is one circle. It is the part of a same circle. This is, both these segments are part of the same circle. So one segment is given to us. One segment is given to us as the length of the curve is 100 feet. Length of this segment or the length of this arc is 100 feet. Length of this particular arc is unknown, right? It is unknown, which I have written as L. Okay. Then the angle subtended by this particular 100 feet arc is D. The length subtended by the central angle subtended by this length of arc L is delta. Okay, all of these are having the same radius r. Using this property, what we can say, right? So 100, you can write down 100 by D. 100 by D is equal to small l by delta. 100 by D is equal to L by delta. Okay, so that is what we have done over here. Delta is gone on the other side, 100 has come on the this side. So you can see this is how you can derive this particular formula. Okay, so this is what we have learned after in the elements of a curve, and depending upon the length of the arc, right? If they give you, instead of 100, if they give you 20 meter, or if they give you 30 meter, that is what you have to substitute here. Instead of 100, substitute 30 or substitute 20 or substitute 10, whatever they give you, you can substitute and you can calculate. Okay, so this is what we have learned using arc definition. Then various formulas are there, various formulas which we have derived, right? What is T? T is the tangent length, L is length of the long chord, E is the apex distance, and O0 is what? Mid ordinate. You have to remember all these formulas, very important. All these formulas you have to remember. Next, after that, we have learned setting out of simple curves by linear method and by angular method. right? Under linear method, we have learned all these 4 types: offset by long chord, by successive bisection of arcs, offset from tangents, and offsets by chord produced. We have learned all these methods. And then in angular methods, we have learned Rankine's method, right? So coming to the first method, that is by offset by long chord, or what we call as ordinate method. So this is the formula which you have to remember for these particular method. These two formula you have to remember. This is the formula which gives you the mid ordinate, and this is the formula which gives you ordinate at any x direction, x distance from the mid ordinate. Then offset from tangent, we have two methods: radial offset and perpendicular offset. We have two methods. So the radial offset formula is this one, and the perpendicular offset is this formula. Okay, so both these formulas are similar. You can see they are similar to each other, right? It is easier to remember. Next, there is also an approximate formula along with the radial and perpendicular. There is an approximate formula which is x square by 2r. Okay. Then we have learned chord produced method. Chord produced, we have solved also numericals regarding this. So we have formula for O1 and we have formula for O2. Then from O2, 3 to O3, so on up to ON minus 1. ON minus 1, we have one formula. And for the last ordinate, we have a separate formula. Right. So if you go through a numerical, you will understand this clearly. We have already solved numerical regarding this. So yeah, you can go through that and you can easily understand once you go through the numerical. So O1, O2, and these are the common ordinates, and this is the last ordinate. So this is for chord produced. And then we have learned this Rankine's deflection angle method, which is under angular methods, of curve setting. Okay, so this is the formula for calculation of delta. Right? This is the formula for calculation of small delta, which is the tangential angle, small delta, and this is the formulas which you have to use for calculation of deflection angle, which is the delta, capital or the larger delta. Okay, triangular. What we write is write at a triangle. So this is the general formula which you have to use. These two are very important. You have to remember these two formulas. Okay. So with this, we are done with simple curves. Then we learned regarding compound curves. Compound curves, I hope you recall. Compound curves, the main condition under compound curves was delta is equals to delta 1 plus delta 2. This is the very main important equation that you have to remember. Then we have this short tangent length, right? Tangent length of the shorter curve formula, tangent length of the longer curve formula, r tan delta y2, the general formula. For shorter curve, it will be rs and delta 1. For longer tangent, it will be rl and delta 2. Okay. Then we have this tangent length, the larger tangent length of the shorter curve. Similarly, we have this formula for longer tangent length of the longer curve. Okay, so if you go through this chapter, you will understand what is TS, TL, all these things. We have derived all these things. Okay, then we have learned 5 cases, right? If you recall, we have learned 5 cases. Depending upon the given value, we have derived the remaining 3 values. Right? Depending upon what are the given elements, we have derived the remaining 3 elements. So we have derived all these things. Each case is similar to the other. Right? First and second case. First case is very different. Second and third case are similar. And fourth and fifth case are similar. Okay, so you have to remember first case. Any of these, if you remember any one, you can recall the other 2. Okay, so this is regarding compound curves. Then we have learned regarding reverse curves. Reverse curve, the important condition here is delta is equals to delta 2. Delta 1 is equals to delta 2 is the important condition over here. Okay, then we have derived these formulas, right? V, small v, then the horizontal distance between them, and the length or the long chord length, capital L. Okay, so these formulas are very important. Then we have learned transition curves. Yesterday only we have learned transition curves, right? So under transition curve, I have told you how to convert meter per second to kilometer per hour. You can use this particular formula to convert from meter per second to kilometer per hour. Centrifugal ratio, you have to remember, this is required for solving your numerical, right? Centrifugal ratio, V square by GR is equals to tan theta. which is equal to height of the cant. Height of the cant is raising of the outer curve, right? Outer edge of the road. Height of that divided by the width. Okay, so this is important, required for solving your numerical. And then we have this length of transition curve, which I have explained yesterday. We have four formulas: the arbitrary formula, the time rate method formula, and then rate of change of radial acceleration. Right? We have these three formulas which you can use and calculate the length of the transition curve. So after this, today we have learned the vertical curve we have learned today, and only there is no numerical, there is only theory, right? So the 6 types I've written over here. In general, I've written the 6 type of vertical curves which are there. Okay, so plus plus minus minus you can remember, and you can write down the various types of curves. So this is the summary of your entire module. Summary of your entire module. I have written down all the formulas, so it will be helpful for you for revision during the exam. Okay, so with this we have finished your third module, that is curves, regarding curves. So simple curves we have learned, then we have learned compound curves, then we have learned reverse curve, transition curves, and we have learned vertical curves. So as I've told you, this entire thing has been clubbed into one module for you now, but previously this was first module and this was the second one. So now they have combined it into one. So it is it seems to be very large, but it is easy once you practice. So make sure you write down and practice in your notebook. Practice all the numericals, and if you have any doubts in any of the theory, any of the derivations, you can always ask. Okay. So any feedback, any suggestions, any opinion from your side regarding the module, whether it was easy, whether it was tough, whether it is lengthy, or whether it is complicated? What do you feel? Can any 2-3 of you can give us some feedback regarding the module, whether you have understood, whether it was very difficult to understand compared to the first 2 modules? What did you feel? Can 2 to 3 of you give some feedback regarding the module? Or should I call out names? Or will you voluntarily speak up? So the first person I like to call upon is Abhishek Jaligad. Please give us some review regarding the module. Have you understood whether it is easy, difficult, and any other thing from your side? Abhishek, ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತ್ರಿ ಇದು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ? Abhishek is not ready to answer. Please answer. Don't feel shy. We are your friends. All of you are our friends here. Then we have Murugesh Tegi is here. Murugesh, please try to interact.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Have you understood the module? What is your opinion on this module?
Lengthy, sir, but easy, sir.
Easy ಇದೆಲ್ಲ. So need to practice. Solve derivation ಅದು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. If you read, if you have not understood, please ask me, okay, anytime. Then we have Shahbaz Sheikh, who is always late for the class. Shahbaz Sheikh. Shahbaz? No answer. Then we have Umayma is here. Umayma, have you understood this module? Any feedback? No answer.
Sir.
Who is this? Yaar idu? Yes, you can speak. Yes, Irshad Ahmad, please. Have you understood what?
Yes, sir. It's difficult, sir, compared to first module, but we need to practice. That's it.
Difficult compared to trigonometry? You feel it is difficult compared to trigonometry and trigonometry?
Yes, sir.
It is easier than that, Baba. Trigonometry is, I think it is difficult compared to this.
No, sir, I missed 2 class, sir, and didn't watch the video, sir. That's why.
Okay, no problem. Then Chandrasekhar is here. Chandrasekhar, Mr. Chandrasekhar
Yes.
Harmalkar.
Yes, sir.
Practicing site engineer, I think, right?
No, sir.
No. Okay. So what was your opinion? Have you understood this module? Any difficulty? Which part did you feel is difficult among this?
Easy, sir.
Easy, right? Easy.
Yes.
No. Okay. So thank you for your feedback. So this next module, that is your fourth module, right? We are going into fourth module. We will start our fourth module on Monday. Right? Monday we will start. So we shall finish your class today with this. We have done with your third module is over. So you can give your attendance. Please give your attendance. Everyone, please give your attendance. And don't leave the session. We still have time. Please don't leave the session. Give our attendance and please wait. Please don't leave the session. Okay, so has everyone given their attendance? Can we stop the recording here? Because after recording is stopped, your attendance will not be recorded.